Hey everybody, today's video is the elf movie wreath that I made last year. I didn't get this video out in time for Christmas last year, 2021, so we're going to be doing it for Christmas 2022. And if you stay tuned till the end of the video, we will be doing some updates and showing some extra changes that we made to the wreath this year. We love the wreath from the first year, but I think you're really going to be excited about the new additions to this wreath this year. We just love it. And what I did was I made a little bit of a background here and in Canva, and I put snow in it. And actually the new wreath at the end of the video, the door is blue. We even went through a change in paint. And here we have it. We've got our green paint, and I've taken these balls from Dollar Tree. There's some yellow paint also, Craft Smart. And I'm going to take that sander that I also got from Dollar Tree and mix some green paint. I didn't really like the green paint, and for Elf, you know, his uniform's kind of Kelly green. So we're gonna mix a little bit of yellow into there, and then we'll get that just right. I went back and forth quite a bit, trying to add more green in, and then I was adding some yellow, and I just couldn't get the right consistency there. So now that I'm happy with that, we're gonna sand this down. It'll help. This is like a foam on the inside, and I didn't have any of the large, I couldn't find any of those large ornaments. So this was the next closest thing that I could find, and they were actually easier to work with than the regular ornaments. So, you know, sometimes necessity is the invention. I think that's the saying. Anyway, you get my drift. But we're just going to get this all prepped up and pretty much take the shine off of it. And what we do have to be careful of with this is that you know, you might want to put a little mask on or something, because it does you know, get quite messy, and you know that some of that could get back into your nose. So if you're really sensitive, you want to be careful. And with that sanding, the paint's going to adhere a lot better. So we'll just get that color that we mixed all onto the ball here. And there are a lot of better ways to do this, but I could just hold it easier and, you know, instead of trying to stick something in there. So I was just doing what I could here and just getting the paint on for now. And it does roll around on you quite a bit, but if you just have your plate and everything, and maybe gloves too, because I got paint all over myself. But I'm going to paint this all up here, and then it's going to take a few coats. So what I did, I made 3 of these total, and the belt I took off of these from Dollar Tree. I took off from these bows, and I just ended up pinning them on. So I think it was about 3 coats, you know, letting each coat dry, and then I actually let them dry overnight. And I put a little bit of a sealer on them too. You know, a clear sealer. But it's, you know, you have to be really careful when you work with them, because they do shed a little. So that was kind of, you know, a down part of them. But I took an old calendar and I made myself a pattern, and I will look for the pattern and then try to figure out how to attach things for upload. I'm not quite sure how to do that, but I will try my best. But the pattern's made to go on a fold, and this is a backpack, a green backpack that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just was cutting on the fold here just because I figured I'd have one less seam, and then I could work with that. And then I'm sorry I'm out of camera a little bit here. This was actually my first video I ever recorded, and I'm recording in my garage, and I think the camera was just, I was back behind the camera a little bit too much. So what I'm showing here off camera is that I cut out that calendar and I put it on the fold for the calendar too. And the calendar is going to give just some reinforcement for the hat, and I'm going to put that on the inside later. So I'm just showing you that, you know, how I cut that out. Hopefully it's a little bit more on screen here. There we go. I think I realized that. All right, and then that's just along the fold, and then that'll be the inside of the hat. Now for outside, I only have this out during Christmas time, and I do put it on my front door, and none of this paper had any problem. But if you had anything like plastic or anything like that, you could certainly use that, or maybe just some felt that's a little bit hard in the back. And then I'm just showing here how I took painter's tape and I just put that together, and then I'll just be slipping over the little backpack that I cut out here, and some masking tape will reinforce those sides too, you know, for the inside of the hat. And then we'll just take, you know, a big piece of the masking tape and get that all set, and that'll keep it much more secure too. And this has been outside during some pretty crazy wind, and it stays down, you know, pretty good. So you know, so it worked out really well. And it was just what I had on hand. I used an old Dollar Tree calendar. And then the ears, they're definitely from Dollar Tree, and I think I saw them there this year. But if they don't have that, they usually have something like that. I just thought it would look really cute to have the, you know, have his ears in on the bottom of the hat. And then that's the inside finished. And then what I'm showing here is I do already have a cutout made, but I'm just showing how I placed that on the fold. And then I took some pins and I pinned it down, and then I just, you know, cut around what I had pinned. And if I don't find the pattern, each side is about 10 inches. You know, I made a triangle, and it's about 10 inches. And then there's a curve at the bottom, but that's about 9 inches or so, which probably could, if it was 10, it would be fine. But it's basically a triangle with a curve at the bottom of it, and you probably didn't even need to do the curve. But otherwise, there we have that. And this material was really good to work with. I didn't have any felt that I found that was green, but I found that. And then what I'm going to do is, you know, since I've got this placed on the fold, and then the ears will go at the bottom, and then what I'll do is I'll just cut that out. But this is the packaging that it comes in, and you know, that's what the ears look like. All right, and then I'm just gonna cut out that bottom curve. We'll get everything cut out, and it should look really good when we're done. But I pin everything down. You don't really even have to, but it's just easier for me to have it pinned. And then I've made a little note for myself. I love to make patterns because sometimes I'll put things away, or maybe something will get damaged and I'll have to remake it. And then I'll have the pattern, and then I just put a note, add a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch to the bottom, and allow for the hem. And then I'll just pull out all my pins. And I've seen people, you know, instead of using pins, which marks everything up, they'll use the weights and put weights down. I don't have them, but I've seen people do that too. So some people just don't like to pin because it puts holes in everything. And this is wrinkled up a bit, but I just didn't even bother. I didn't want to run an iron on that because it is not really fabricy. It's really kind of polyestery, and I think it would have melted. So I'm just going to glue this one side seam here. We already have our other seam, so we don't have to worry about that. And then I've got my finger protectors on so they don't get burned. And I have in my garage, and I do have the fan on. Just it kind of runs some. Well, I'm in Florida, so it kind of runs the air through, so it's not so warm. And sometimes the glue smells a little, and that fan really helps ventilate the area for us. And then I'm just going to finish up this little seam. And I mean, it could be sewed too. You know, if you like to sew, it could be hand sewed. If you don't like to glue, you know, that little seam could be hand sewed in. And there you have it. That's our first part of our hat there. And I think the hat really just makes it. And this is Dollar Tree canvas, and didn't have any wood at the time, so I grabbed this canvas from Dollar Tree. And then on my Cricut, I made these letters out, and I made his little shoes and his little tights there. And that'll be the sign for the middle. And we'll turn this hat inside out, and it'll look like a real hat. And then just going to take it, and probably a pencil would be better for this, but I have my scissors close by, and then just push that little point in so you get a little bit of a point. But the eraser would be better to do that with the end of the pencil. And I'm going to take that calendar that we made and just pop it right over. And then we have the makings or the beginnings of Buddy's hat. And I just think that that's really what makes the wreath, is to have his actual hat. And but I really like the way this is coming out. And then I'm going to take this tag off the ears, and we'll put that at the bottom, and I'm just tucking it in. And I'll pin this, but it doesn't really have to be pinned. That's just things that I do. But I'm not a big fan of pinning, but for some reason, I guess it just feels like it helps not make mistakes down the road for me. Sometimes you start pinning something or you start gluing something and you miss a big part of the picture. So this just helps me line things up, and you know, helps me see the project before I get started gluing so permanent a lot of times. And you know, you can also do double-sided sticky tape and things like that too. Or you know, I don't know if you'd be able to do heat and bond on it because of the fabric for that backpack. So you know, another way of attaching it would be good too. And then I drew in Inkscape, I drew a shoe, and then I put a very big stroke on it for his for the seam allowance. And I think it was probably about a 1/2 inch stroke on there. And so I'm taking my little pattern here. This is Dollar Tree felt, and if you can get any other kind of felt, I would do that, because the Dollar Tree felt in this situation, I mean, it's good for a lot of things, but in this situation, it was really difficult to work with. It's very thin. I need 4 of these, so I just rolled that over 4 times, and then that'll give me a total of 4 little shoes there. And again, we'll pin that down. And since we're cutting 4, we want to make sure that we've got a you know, a secure shoe to work with. Okay, and we'll just finish that up. And then we'll cut off the remainder here. And then I'm just going to cut around that and cut out as best I can. It's not perfect or anything. The toe part of it was a little difficult, and I did have to go back into Inkscape and work with that a little bit more, because I just made it too pointy, and it really doesn't need to be. It just needs to be kind of like a little curve at the end. So we will finish that part up, and then I'm taking my hot glue gun again and just slightly going around that little curve. And if you see too, that end is more of a round end. It's not so pointy anymore. And then I'm just going through and making my little seams. And I've got 4, so I'll be able to get a set of 2. I'll be able to get 2 shoes for Buddy. And and then I'm turning this inside out. I did use a pencil and everything too, but then, and I apologize, I'm off camera a little bit on that. I was concentrating. And and then I'll get my pencil out too with the eraser end. And here's where you run into some problems when you're using the Dollar Tree felt. So if you have any black felt of any, better quality, I would get that because it's much easier to work with. And then I've got some polyfill here that I just had from another pillow, and I'm filling up the little shoes with that. And my pencil will tuck in I can tuck the polyfill in there a little bit better. But anything that you have around, if you have an old pillow or just a pillow that no one's using anymore, or just even a Walmart pillow that is, you could even take that, because I think you can get them for $3, and it's just so much better than what you would have to pay for that polyfill. And what I'm doing is, I didn't know what I was going to do with this little end piece, if I was going to let it stick out, but I do end up eventually gluing that together, and it looks like a little tab. And then here I wanted to make little tights for him and little legs coming out from the wreath. So this is a vanilla file folder that I got from Dollar Tree. I just got a package of them. And this yellow is a scarf. Just, how they have the scarves just hanging on the end caps and everything. I just took a yellow scarf, and I'm not quite sure what the measurements are on here, but I think it is about a foot, and I don't know what the width is. Maybe 6 inches across and about a foot long. And then I cut this scarf individual pieces. I needed 4 pieces. I believe it was 4. And then I cut them individually. And the reason why I cut more was because I needed to practice on some of these, because it's so thin that I was trying to find a way to bring them together, to attach them together, on the seam on the back. So I did end up getting the seam in the back, but it just took a little bit of trial. I just had to make a few of them so I could practice with them. But once I got the idea of what I needed to do, it wasn't too bad at all. And with these, it's just not something that you could cut out in 4s. It was just, so I just cut out 1 piece at a time. And then I have my little kind of tube that I made, my little stocking tube or tights. And I'm going to take the end. This is just a twisty that I had for Christmas, and I cut that in half. And then I'm going to make these little kind of like, they look like sausages when you get done with them. And then I've got some more of that polyfill, and taking my ruler. I took the ruler because it was long, and I gently put that in. So the seam for this is going to be in the back. It's not pretty, but these are the little sausage legs with his tights, and and then I just cut and I trimmed that end. And the top, I had this ribbon left over from a Dollar Tree gift bag, and I just took the little tie, and I mean, red ribbon will work, or just anything to tie them, shoelaces, anything like that. It's not really going to be seen, but I just wanted something nice, because the back of the wreath isn't so pretty when you have a lot of different colors. So I just used that ribbon that I had, and it was kind of like a shoelace at the end. So I like that because it was tied off. And then now that we have our little sausage legs, I'm going to take the shoes that I've already stuffed with the polyfill, and we're going to get those attached, and it really just hot glue will work. And I had a little bit too much polyfill, but that's easy to fix. You just take it out. You know, you're going to have a, you know, something else that you're putting in the shoe, so you need less room. And you know, we'll just get that situated, and you just take your time and take a look at how you want it, and you know what you want it to look like. And then I'm taking some hot glue here just to get get it started, because the glue did get a little bit messier than what I like. So but I'm mainly just right now getting the leg attached. And you can see too now that the seam did go to the inside of the legs and not the back, but it was okay because you can't see it from the front. So there's our first leg. We'll do the same thing with the second leg. And then here where that glue is, I just wanted to see if I could make a little fold over on his shoes. I think it would really finish it off. And I just cut a straight piece. I folded it over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually cutting a second piece too for the other shoe. And I folded it over in half. And I'm just fitting it around just to see what I think. And then on the inside of that fold, we'll glue that first, so we have a little bit more firmness in the area, and then it also be for covering up too, covering up glue spots, which I don't like at all. So I'm putting that over, and finger protectors are really good for this because you're gluing in some tight spaces, and you want to make sure that you don't get burned. And sometimes I do forget with another finger, and I'll use it and I'll get zapped, and then I won't forget it. And then there's the finished shoe. And what we'll do is we'll repeat the same, on the other side. So we have 2 total for 2 of Buddy's legs and shoes there. And then I've got these, they're actually candy apple sticks. And I didn't find anything in Dollar Tree, so I got these on Amazon. And there's enough to even make candy apples, but right now we are using them as the skewers. I put them on skewers to dry, and then I attached the little belt there from the bows. I took the belt off of the bows that I showed you earlier, and I pinned them. I didn't hot glue them or anything. I pinned them in. And here what I'm doing is I'm putting some of those apple sticks in there, and I guess you would call them candy apple sticks or something. And then I'm just I have my Santa sign that I made, and I just think too that the different colors in the sign really look like Christmas, and it captures all the colors from the movie. And here what we'll do for the sign, it's going to go right in the middle of the wreath. We're going to glue down a little jute twine here, and then that way that'll be a holder. And I just put a huge amount on there just to get it started, and then I just let it, I put a bunch more. And then what I'll do too is I let that dry a really long time, and it works out great. These I ordered, I believe, from Joann's because I couldn't find red and white at Dollar Tree. You can always find red, but for some reason I couldn't find the white. So I ordered these, and what I'm doing is I'm going to make some candy canes out of them. I wanted something a little bit whimsical that sticks out, kind of wiry looking, and just add some dimension to the wreath and something of interest to catch your eye and to look at. And I'm taking the 2 colors, and I'm just going to twist them together all the way through. And what I want to have is a set of two sets of two, one on one side of the wreath and one on the other. And then I've got some floral tape here, and that is probably from Joann's. And this I ended up ordering. It's from Dritz, and we'll be using those a little bit here. And then this is some Offray ribbon, and that usually sometimes I can get that Offray ribbon from Dollar Tree, but I'm pretty sure I got that from Joann's. And that's just some red ribbon. But here's the candy canes, and there's one, two, it looks like it looks like I made 3 sets of them. And I've got this floral tape, and I'm just gonna, it was easier just to pull it all out. And what I want to do is make picks. I want to make my own picks, because I was looking around, and at the time I was making this, the picks were just crazy. And even this year, they're even higher priced. So I wanted to learn how to make these on my own, so that I can put any kind of picks that I want in my wreaths or any of my decor. So I'm wrapping this floral tape around, and what it does is it just attaches these together. And I'm off camera a little bit again, but it attaches these together. And then what we'll do is we have one higher than the other. If you can see here, we have one higher than the other. And then what you can do is just keep twining it and rolling it around the area. And I'm going to cut that off too, and that's just about to the end. And what this wire will do is it'll keep it to where I can insert it, and it keeps them together. And then with the wire, I'll insert it into the wreath. But this is what they turn out like. And I just love the way that they are bouncy and whimsical, and they'll add color. And then with that red Offray wreath ribbon, what I did was I just wrapped that around the floral tape. And you don't even really have to do that step, because you don't really see it in the wreath, but because everything is green. So I did that. And then this next little whimsical item that we're going to do is I've got some red and green pom-poms, and I got those from Dollar Tree. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make a little pom-pom pick. And I saw a lot of these around, and they add some fun and interest into the wreath. They just are sparkly, and these are red and green. And there are about 3 or 4 different sizes in the pack. And I'm doing larger, medium, smaller. And they go right through the pick, just right through the wire. And you feed them through. And then green will be next. And we'll get that in. And what I'm doing now is just kind of getting an idea of where I want to glue them and how I want to glue them in. And just a little dab of glue at the bottom and the top keeps them from sliding. And then we'll put our green one next. And put a little dab of glue, one there at the bottom, one at the top. And that will secure it. And then our red one will be next. And we'll put that at the very top. So it gave me a little bit of a hard time, but I just need to find the right spot to put it in. And then another dab of glue here. And I like that at the very end, because it just kind of gives it, it doesn't have a metal piece sticking out of it. And there you have it, a cute little pick, and made it all by yourself. And it's very, very cheap. It's probably, at the time, that package was probably $1. This is some of the some red nail polish from Dollar Tree, and it's sort of a red, kind of maroony type of Christmas red, and it's a little metallic too. And I just wanted to put a little bit of sparkle and a little bit of glitter on these wires here, and it'll stay really good too. so that, you know, nail polish does stay for a long time and it stays on the wire. Other paint, I think it would be a problem, and I don't think it would really stay as long. And this will endure the seasons and endure the outside if you were to put it outside. But at this part here, I'm just coming down a little bit, and I'll come down just as far as about my hand there, because a lot of that is, it's only going to show down to a certain point because it'll be put in as a pick. So we'll let that dry. And then I do end up giving this a second coat. I came back and did a second coat on that. And then for more whimsical items, I had from Dollar Tree these, I call them pipe cleaners, but I think they call them stems or something now. I forget. But anyway, I'm just wrapping this around my rubber mallet. And then at the end, I'll just take my pencil and give it a little extra coil there. And those go into as a pick, and they just add color and sparkle to the wreath. So we'll attach those throughout the wreath here. And I couldn't find any little peppermint candies. So I found a bag. I wanted peppermints in there because, you know, Buddy, he loves his candy. And, you know, Christmas is all about peppermints. So I take this bag and just cut it up. And these gift bags are so great because if you don't have something, you know, maybe the right scrapbook paper or anything, these are usually pretty sturdy and easy to craft with. If you can't find the you know, scrapbook paper that has the exact print on it, and you find it in Dollar Tree, you just grab it from there. And then I'm just going through with my scissors, and I'm gonna cut these out. And I cut out a bunch of them here. I think I end up with about 6 of them or so. And then to get them into a pick, what I'll do is I'll use those pipe cleaners again, pipe stems, something like that. And I'll take the white, because I figured it would be, you know, see it would match. And I'm making this little coil and sort of a platform for them. And it just kind of, and I think you can see it now, it just wraps around in a nice little coil there. And what I'll do too is I'm going to extend with the green, and that gives it a little bit more color into the wreath, and it will recede in. Just won't be able to see it as much. And then there's our peppermint candy. And peppermints aren't always easy for me to find. And then when I do find them, they're usually expensive, but at the end of the season, I've learned to go into Michael's or something, and, you know, go in when everything's really low and buy a pick. And then the picks usually have a lot of stuff on them. And this is just a little bit of ribbon that I found at the Dollar Tree also. And it is just shiny ribbon, and you can curl it. And here I'm using those I'm calling them vanilla folders. They're manila folders. And I think they come 5 in a pack, or they used to come 10 in a pack or something. But anyway, I'm going to make more candy. And I'm just going to take that folder, and I didn't really measure this out or anything. I just took a look at it and, you know, rolled it up there. I've actually seen people on YouTube and other crafters use glue sticks, you know, maybe some old glue sticks that they have laying around, and you know, make the candy out of glue sticks. So I've got my little cylinders here that I made, and I couldn't find this cellophane this year, but I did find these banners. That's exactly what I was looking for, was this shiny red look. So I'm going to take that red banner, or part of that red banner, and roll this up. And this is going to be the part of my candy, the inside part of it. And I'm just going to trim those edges there. And then what I'll do is I'll just tape that. You won't really see the tape. And I'll trim those edges off. And then I'll take it, and I'm just evening it out right now because it got a little bit uneven. So the edges, or the ends, I'm just going to take them, and I'm still straightening these out here, but once you get the hang of it, you won't have to go through all that. But I'm just going to tie these ends here and just twisting them. And I do put a little bit of one of the pipe cleaners around it, and we probably didn't even need it, but anyway, it looked good on there. And then this is just a piece of cellophane from the bag that the little red, white, and blue banner came in. And I thought that would come in handy. And they do have cellophane at the Dollar Tree, but I just didn't have it. So I grabbed that, and I figured, use whatever you have, and whatever you have on hand. And then this is some gold ribbon, and that'll curl up really nice. And then I'm just going to take that and tie these ends here. I'll tie the cellophane up, and that gives it more of, I think, a look of candy and just something shiny and gold. Anything that you can get that's shiny and gold is always good in a wreath, and especially for Christmas too. All right, and just a regular overhand knot, and I'll get that secured, and then I'll take my scissors and we'll do that, go on the inside of the ribbon, and this will curl it. I wasn't sure if this was going to be curlable ribbon or not. And then I wanted it a little bit thinner, the little pieces thinner. So I went through and just cut it and made them a little bit thinner. So I think that looks good right there. I'm going to cut off the excess. And I'm just getting it positioned to see, just to get it to look good there. And we'll make the rest of them just the same way. And those are all set. And then what I did here was I wanted a way to attach the hat. And so I took some of those skewer sticks and I taped them in. And here's the wreath. Now this wreath I had for a long time and hadn't done anything with it. But you can get these at about $5.99 or so at Michael's. And I know they usually run sales, later in the year. This is about not quite mid-December. So they'll start putting the wreaths on sale. And I'll usually grab a couple just so I have one, because I make a wreath, usually make a wreath every year. And here's our Oh My God Santa, I Know Him sign. And our glue is dry, so I'll just use that handle or hanger that we made, and then put that into the middle. And then I'll start, I've got my ornaments in, and I just placed them, 3 of them. I just looked and tried to put them alternate of each other. And then here what I'll do is I'll just start attaching the candy, and then any of my picks, and I'll take my time arranging everything. And this is always your one of your fun times where you put on the Christmas music and grab a cup of hot cocoa or coffee or whatever you like, and just have fun with this, and just take your time and enjoy the holiday. And the Christmas music, I feel like, makes it go so well. And then I have a a couple of YouTubers that I watch, and I'll notice that they'll have their TV on and they'll have a fireplace going, or maybe they'll just have Christmas music, a little fireplace and Christmas music in the background, or a Christmas scene. And I love that, and I'll put that on so that I can watch it and get into the spirit of Christmas. I love it so much. And it is one of my favorite times a year. And these are just some of the ornaments from Dollar Tree, and you can paint them on your own, color your own, and it's from the Crafter's Square. And I decided to not color these at this point, and I didn't stain them either. I just put those in sporadically throughout the wreath. And then you'll also see too that I put the little pom-pom picks in them, and then I put the candy canes and picks in there sporadically. This is something I had on hand for years and years, and I wanted to get a little bit of holly and a little bit of different texture and color in here. So I put these holly leaves in, and I think it really added some nice texture to the wreath. And the leaves have that little lighter green on the end, and they're nice and shiny. And so I sporadically put those in, and then we'll line everything up. You'll see the hat and the sign are lined up. And here what I'm doing is I'm just tying the legs in on one of those bars, one of the little metal rings there. And because I have the shoelace type of bow there, or ribbon, it was just a lot easier than having to trim off the bottom of it or glue it, or so that it would shed. But it has a little plastic shoelacy thing at the end from that gift bag, so we were able to utilize that too, and then get these legs on. And I just do a couple of overhand knots to secure them. And if I ever need to take them off and move them or put them on another wreath or something, I'll be able to take a fork or something and kind of pull the ribbon out and detach them. I always try to make sure I can reattach things. And there you have it. I just love the way that this turned out. And this is our last year wreath, not with the updates yet. And you can see that we've got the little legs in place, the hat, and the sign and the ornaments. All the candies are in there, and candy canes. And as we zoom in a little bit closer here, you'll be able to see more detail. And now you can see the little whimsical pom-poms and the candy, the little peppermints, and just the way that everything pulled together. I was just so excited. And here we have the updated version that we worked on this year. And we've got some around the sign. I found some Dollar Tree pom-poms, and it's like a pom-pom edging. And I put that on in red. I thought that would pull out some detail. And we've got little maple syrup bottles glued in. I took some Dollar Tree forks, painted them silver, and took some yarn and made some little Skittles and candy, because Buddy eats the spaghetti with the maple syrup, and I just thought that that would be a great addition. And then also we've got the cotton balls that Buddy was eating when he was when his father took him to the doctors for the first time. So I tried it with this version, try to pull a little bit more into it. I did find peppermints this year, and I found them on the bottom of the little pink Christmas trees. And I just pulled them off, and I can use the Christmas trees for something else. But I painted these snowflakes blue, light blue, and then sprinkled just some iridescent glitter that I had on hand and glued them on. And then it just sporadically put everything through and placed them to where, I thought it would look just right. And I think the cotton balls being real just adds that extra touch to it. and really brings the movie to life, because, you know, Buddy was such an interesting character, and it's just a classic movie, and I absolutely love it. And I think, you know, every year I have to watch it, if not once, a few times. And I just like to cuddle up and get some hot chocolate and sit on the couch with a blanket and go and watch it, you know, with my kids and everything. So I'm very, very happy with the way that this turned out. It's a nice update to it. It was already nice. It was already a good wreath and fun and everything, but I think this really did it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you have a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you in the next one.